the race card isn't a thing, it's just race in general.
And I think the change that needs to happen is that people need to have these experiences. They need to have these experiences directly.
Because yes, of course there are black people that steal. There are white people that steal too. Even if it's a thankless job, the way that we step towards reshaping our society and the negative normalities about it is we take action. First question is, do you agree or disagree that black people can or can't be racist, and why?
Black people can't be racist because they don't have the power.
I would say I disagree, and that is based off the definition I have for racism, which I think is a mix of prejudice and action.
I think that black people can be racist, just as I think anybody can be racist.
They can have thoughts that are discriminative towards different races, but I don't believe that they have the power to contribute to the structure of racism within our country, especially when they don't have power.
It's not like the race themselves are racist, it's just that there's individuals that don't really see eye to eye.
Racism comes with a system, and that system was never built, the system in this country was never built for black people. And since it wasn't built for black people, they're not meant to succeed here.
What is the difference between racism and prejudice?
I think prejudice is just the personal bias that people have, and I think anyone can look at someone and judge them before they know them.
Judging someone from what you think versus your knowledge.
Prejudice is simply not liking somebody for whatever reason. Racism is specifically not liking that person about their beliefs or how they look.
Judging someone before you actually know what they're about.
Taking a stereotype or what you kind of see of someone and then kind of just assuming that about them in any given scenario, you just assume they fit into a certain box. And that is kind of just how you interact with them. It's kind of more about how you think about them, how you respond to them, whatever they're doing, whether they're there or not. Whereas racism is kind of the prejudice, thoughts and stuff that you have, coupled with direct, I don't want to use the word premeditated, but it's thought of action.
Kind of move in a different direction. What does privilege look like to you?
Ugh. Are we talking privilege or white privilege? Are we jumping straight into white privilege?
Having a better circumstance to start out with gives you a better shot at success.
People have privileges, some more than others. For example, I have privilege because I come from a good family that makes a decent amount of money, and I have the opportunity to go to a school as great as Shorecrest. Whereas some people, they don't get those opportunities and they don't live in the best neighborhoods. And privilege, one of the biggest amounts of privilege that you can get in this country is having fair skin, having white skin.
White privilege to me, or privilege in general, is where a person gets better opportunities and gets treated better because of the race that they are.
Privilege looks like walking around not having to worry about aspects of you that you cannot control.
In this situation, you have the advantage. Being a white, rich male, that's definitely privileged. But yeah, just having the advantage over others.
It's kind of like in a race, and instead of starting at the, starting line, they kind of start 10 yards back.
Brought into perspective that there's a lot I'm just ignorant to, and a lot that I'm part of the problem because I'm not aware that there is a problem.
If it makes any sense to make fun of someone because they have different colored skin than you, then you shouldn't be around people in general, because that's stupid. You shouldn't hate someone because they are a different race than you, and you shouldn't mess with someone because they're a different race than you because they can't help it.
It's integrated so far into our society that if you don't actively try to get away from it, you're still being a part of it.
People will often say that you should be colorblind, and like even children understand race.
I think we're missing the bigger issue. I think it's less about if one group of people is able to be racist or prejudiced and what constitutes what. The bigger issue and the things that we need to be looking at solving is the causes of this, the reasons why somebody is acting in a negative way to somebody else, rather than if it's happening or not, because it is.